I'd like to welcome everybody here. Very, very exciting and important day in the history of the City of Revere, where I'm pleased to announce that the City of Revere and the developers at Suffolk Downs have come to terms on a host community agreement that was signed today. The mitigation agreement will protect the interests of residents and business owners of the City of Revere by improving traffic conditions, increasing public safety and green space, as well as creating much-needed jobs and infrastructure improvements. We took a very measured approach and weighed the opinions and ideas of the community throughout this process. The prospect of a resort-style casino at Suffolk Downs will surely create jobs and lead to further investment within our community. The host community agreement will act to protect the city's interests and ensure that we have the resources needed in the future. The citizens of Revere, through an election, will be the final deciding voice on the prospect of this resort-style casino. My feeling is that when the citizens of Revere see this agreement, they will support the committee host agreement overwhelmingly. I believe that the Revere host community agreement is an extraordinary deal that will help make the transformation of Revere a reality. The host community agreement reached today is worth over $200 million over the life of the agreement. It will give residents unprecedented opportunities for employment with 2,500 construction jobs and 4,000 permanent jobs thereafter. One of the most important elements of this agreement is that Revere residents will have preference for the good-paying, quality jobs that this development will create. Under the agreement, a Suffolk Downs Resort Casino will spend a minimum of $100 million on the purchases of goods and services at Revere businesses. It will provide the city with significant new revenue stream, estimated at approximately $15 million a year when fully operational. That number will grow as the facility grows, making it by far the largest taxpayer in the city. In fact, the top 10 largest taxpayers in this city do not add up to the yearly amount that will ultimately be received on an annual basis by this agreement. I would like to thank the people at Suffolk Downs and Caesars, particularly Richard Fields and Chip Tuttle, for being such great partners in the negotiation process, as well as a great partner to the city over the many years that they have run Suffolk Downs. I also want to thank Joe Gusewitz from Caesars Entertainment, who will help make this a world-class facility. I would also like to thank John Festa and our economic development team, who worked with me diligently in making this become a reality. I'd like to also recognize Nick Anastasopoulos and Brian Falk from Merrick O'Connell, our attorneys on this project, who have also worked tirelessly, particularly as of late, I think 17, 18 hours over the last couple of days, to finally bring this to a conclusion. Also, I would be remiss if I did not thank our leaders from state government, for whom without I could not be standing here, and the people behind me could not be standing here. That is our State Representative Bob DeLeo, State Representative, Speaker of the House, I should say, Bob DeLeo, State Representative Kathy Reinstein, and Senator Petroselli, who you will hear from momentarily. It was them paving the way to help get us to the table that is helping and ultimately creating these jobs and revenue stream that the city will enjoy. At this time, I am very happy and proud to bring principal owner of Suffolk Downs, Richard Fields, up to the microphone. Richard.
Really great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everybody hear me? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Listen, this is a very, very special day for all of us, and I am very proud to be here and be part of this continuing real special relationship that we have at Suffolk Downs with all of you in Revere. And today could not have happened without the cooperation of Mayor Rizzo and your staff, who have been really, really terrific. It just goes to show what you can do when you really have a cooperative spirit. We are really very, very excited to be part of the transformation of this entire city and the region, and also specifically to make sure that it will instill the continuation of Suffolk Downs. This is all about, as you know, it's funny, the mayor said a minute ago, and he thanked the speaker and Kathy Ann for getting us to this point, and Senator Petroselli. Well, when the speaker passed this bill several years ago, he talked about this being an emergency jobs bill. And none of us would be here today without that. And on behalf of the family of workers at Suffolk Downs, those people that are working there now, and all of you folks in the future, we owe those folks that passed this legislation, the Speaker and Kathy Ann and the Senator, a real round of applause and thank you. Because without them, none of this would have happened. I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. So all I would like to say is that this is just the beginning. And what's really important about this is there have been a lot of promises made that we would get to today. This has been a long struggle. I know the struggle started before I got involved in Suffolk Downs. We picked up the mantle and kept it going. But I made a bunch of promises, and today is the first step in fulfilling those promises. And the most important one was to a woman, his mother. I promised the mayor's mother, Maureen, that she would be there for the opening of Suffolk Downs, and today is the first step of that. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everybody. I promised your mother. You can't not promise a mother, right?
She's going to love that. Oh, yeah. Richard, thanks so much. I know this is just the beginning of a long, mutually beneficial partnership between us and our community. So thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to bring up our good friend and one of the main reasons that we're ultimately here today, State Senator Anthony Petroselli.
Thank you, Mayor Rizzo. And on behalf of my colleagues, Representative DeLeo, Representative Reinstein, who aren't here today, who represent the city of Revere, with me, I want to congratulate Mayor Rizzo, his team, and of course Mr. Fields, Chip Tuttle, and the team at Suffolk Downs for reaching this agreement and passing another milestone in this process that now goes to the voters of Revere and of East Boston, where I live. This is a wonderful agreement when you really get to look at the milestones in it, the amount of money, the jobs, the investment in local businesses, the investment in road infrastructure in Revere and in East Boston. It is the process that we created that empowered Mayor Rizzo and our good friend Mayor Menino in Boston to be able to have these agreements. It's a very unique law. There's no process like it in the country that empowers our municipalities and empowers the communities, the people who live in the communities, the host communities, to have the final say on this. And so I am very encouraged and pleased by both the agreements in East Boston and Revere. I'm looking forward to the election so I can vote for this agreement in East Boston and encourage the people that I live with, my neighbors, to do so as well, again, because of the investment and the benefits that most certainly will outweigh any negatives that might exist from the development. So, again, congratulations, Mayor Rizzo and the folks of the city of Revere. Thank you.
Senator, thank you very much. I'd also just like to, while not individually recognize them, I'd like to just give a shout out to my colleagues in government that are here with us today, the Revere City Councilors that are here behind me. We've got some school committee members that are here, and I want to thank them for their patience and their understanding during this very, very lengthy process. It did take us some time to get to the point that we're at right now, but we did that because we wanted to get it right. This is a 15-year agreement, and you know, we didn't want to just jump into it without doing as much due diligence as we thought that we had to do, and we felt we owed our taxpayers and residents of this community that. So I want to thank my colleagues in government for that. Now, the guy that has been at the butt of almost every community meeting, I think, that could possibly have been held, become a good friend over time, and really one of the key cogs in the wheel that has helped make this happen, and that's the Chief Operating Officer at Suffolk Downs, Chip Tuttle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great day for Suffolk Downs and a great day for the city of Revere. We're very proud to be here and have worked really diligently for a long time with the mayor and his team. As people before mentioned, as Richard and the mayor and Senator Petroselli mentioned, this process started not weeks ago, not months ago, but literally years ago. We've been talking about this for a long time. This is perhaps the most vetted proposal in the history of development in the area. And that's the way we wanted it. We wanted the process to be very open. We've had literally hundreds of community meetings. And those meetings where we heard from all of you, where we heard from our neighbors in East Boston, even our neighbors in Winthrop and Chelsea, they informed our development, they informed our plans, they helped us shape things. They're reflected in this agreement. I never thought that we would be the largest taxpayer in the city of Revere, but we're very, very happy if we go ahead and earn this license and earn that mantle. We'd be contributing about 10% of the city's annual budget on an annual basis. And that means wonderful things for the city. It means it can take other resources and devote them to where there are real needs. It means we can continue to invest in our local community, to invest in local businesses, to invest in job training programs for local residents, and to invest in this facility that's been part of the community, a fabric of the community for 78 years. And we have tried hard to generate some goodwill over the last few years since Richard Fields came into this town and to Suffolk Downs in 2007. And when we first started doing meetings, we realized that a lot of the goodwill that people in the community have for Suffolk Downs is a result of 78 years of being a good neighbor, employing generations of people in the community. And we really look forward to this, as Richard said, the first step in being able to employ generations of local residents for years to come. So thank you, everybody, very much. And I guess, Mr. Mayor, we're going to open it up for questions now. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, we'll field. Yes.
$15 million in estimated payments to the city. Is that based on a particular revenue amount, annual revenue amount? And if so, what's that number?
Yeah, so it's really based on projections when we're at full build for the facility, at full opening. The exact revenue amount off the top of my head, I probably won't get it right. But yeah, the agreement has a series of guarantees and protections for the city, and also the city is willing to share in the upside if there's some upside, which is the best kind of agreement. The more successful we are, the greater the number of visitors, the busier the facility, the more successful the facility. That has a correlation on the impacts to Revere, and we wanted to be sure that there was a correlation in our agreement on as those impacts potentially increased, that the revenue to the city increased as well.
Is there a minimum number that Suffolk Downs would be paying the city under this agreement?
There is, and it's outlined in the agreement, which I think we're going to post on the website, if not tonight, first thing tomorrow. Any other questions?
What about the intersection between the Revere host agreement and the East Boston host agreement? You're paying out a lot of money to each city if this goes through. We're talking 4,000 jobs. Does one interfere with the other? Let's start with the jobs. 4,000 jobs permanent. Where do they come from?
So the intersection with Revere and East Boston is it's a little bit of a loaded term because of all the road and infrastructure improvements that were $45 million worth of road and infrastructure improvements that will benefit both communities. So there have been a lot of intersections where Revere and Boston were completely aligned. And I think some of those are reflected in the two agreements. Our commitments to local hiring, our commitments to local spending, our commitments to road and infrastructure improvements. I should take a minute to take a step back and say, since this process started, we have with our partners at Caesars, we've said we want to set the standard for gaming development in Massachusetts. So we want to set the standard on sustainable design. We wanted to set the standard on having a world-class facility that will attract visitors from not only the region, but from around New England, from around the United States, from around the world. And we wanted to set the standard on how we approach our host community agreements as well. I think there's been a level of partnership, of collaboration in these agreements that we hope is reflected in the thoroughness of them, the exhaustive process that we went through. And so we think this is one more opportunity for us to set the standard statewide for how gaming development is approached.
Is there a timetable, I don't know, Mayor, for the election?
You know, we're moving ahead with Boston and Revere now to work together to schedule a date. We have not requested a date, but we are going to start the process. We have started the process today, in fact, of moving ahead to the ballot questions, which will be 60 to 90 days from now.
You want to vote on the same day, East Boston?
Ideally, yes, and I think the Gaming Commission has issued regulations requesting that we try to do that. So, if nobody else has any questions for the mayor or anybody else, yes. So thanks everybody.
Thank you, everybody.